The middle schoolers got a special treat this year as a few of the University of Mary basketball players came down to show off a few of their moves. It's one thing to get used to the culture and lifestyle here in Bismarck, but the weather, that's a whole different story. Now, Schaefer has been working all off-season long on becoming a more complete player, and it is shown on the court. But the one thing he will always be known for is his silky smooth jump shot. Now, a big part of the Demons' success this season is the physicality on their defensive line, and I'm standing with the two anchors right here. We have Stanley standing at 6'4", 200 pounds, and we have Thomas standing at 6 foot, 230 pounds. That's right, LT. Now, Midnight Madness is a celebration of the tip-off to the college basketball season. It goes on at colleges across the country, and it is no different here at University of Mary. Now, I'm here with men's head coach, Jevin Buddy. Now, Jevin, tell me what you guys are doing tonight to get the fans involved and celebrate the tip-off of the season. Welcome back, everyone. The eastern part of the state has completely dominated high school hockey here in North Dakota. Well, that all changed last night when Bismarck High School took down Grand Forks Central in the state championship. It was the first time a team from the West won since Minot did so in 1992. It is also the first time a boys state hockey title has ever come to the capital city. Let's take a look back at last night's historic victory. Coach Mike Peluso came up a game short of winning a state title during his playing days at BHS. Early on, no score, Demons captain Jared Spooner gets things going with the beautiful wrister for the goal. Spooner had 7 points in the state tournament. He was crowned MVP. Second period now, a scrum out in front of the net. Cole Kirchhoffner gains control and beats Brett Malkmus for the goal, and we are all tied up at 1 in Grand Forks. Now we go to the third period, same score. Off the face-off, Spooner on the rush. He finds his boy, Trey Kautzman, for the one-timer. And the Demons, they go on to win their first ever state championship 2-1. Now, that was not the only hockey news in North Dakota this weekend. Williston State has repeated as junior college national champions. They beat Monroe Community College today 2-0 in Erie, Pennsylvania. So congrats to both Williston State and Bismarck High for their respective championships. Now, switching gear to basketball. The Marauders men's and women's basketball teams both wrapped up its season yesterday in Moorhead. All postseason matchups are now set in stone, but before we get to them, let's revisit last night's games against MSU. We start with the men who have struggled to find consistency this season. Second half, Marauders down 6 when Chris Mason buries the tray to keep the game tight. He had a game and season high 29 points. Now, more from the Marauders. Brian Jefferson gets the offensive board and put back, and it's a 2-point game. Now it's Moorhead's Tyler Vaughn hitting the tray and drawing the foul. The Dragons go up 6 after the freebie. Late in the game, Marsmus and Guy with the tough move and bucket. He had 17 on the night, but the Dragons would never trail in this one. Isaac Savell hits the mid-range as the Dragons hang on in overtime, 95-94. Now let's check out the women. They had already locked up a home playoff game last week. Now let's go to the score. Dragons trailing by 9 early, but Megan Streets gets open at the foul line. She knocks down the jumper. Later on, Brittany Dietz saves a wild pass and turns it into 3 points. The sophomore finished with 12 points at the game, and she's been steady as they come this year. Dragons now down 13, and Lee Miller gets into paint and scores to dig in that Marauders lead. But it would not be enough here. Danny Clark hits the running hook as Mary wins convincingly, 78-62. Lindsey Sand had 17 and 8 to lead the Marauders. Now let's take a look at the playoff matchups for both the men and the women. The women host Winona State on Wednesday at 7 at the MAC. The Marauders beat Winona State in overtime earlier in the year on January 10th, 65-62. Now the men, they have to go on the road on Wednesday. They take on Southwest Minnesota State. But UMary knows how to win in Marshall, Minnesota. They got to win there against the Mustangs on Valentine's Day. And as always, we will have full Marauders playoff coverage right here on NBC North Dakota News. And the Daytona 500 was today. Here are your leaders in Daytona. We are currently actually in a rain delay, but Kyle Busch paces the field. Coming up next is Casey Kane, followed by Denny Hamlin, Brian Vickers, and Paul Menard. We will have the final results on the night report. But Mark, back to the top story, the Bismarck High hockey team. They win states. I've covered the team all year. You know, they're just a fun group of kids, so really happy for them that they can bring back a title to the capital city.
Absolutely. Congrats, you guys. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us. greatest time of my life.
That is exactly how Austin Cieslak describes his athletic career at Hazen High School. And it is an accomplished one, especially on the gridiron.
It means a lot, like just winning back-to-back state championships, and well, no, we weren't back there since like 1996, and then just going in and winning in the first year was incredible, and then the second year, just unbelievable feeling winning it again.
And during that magical 2-year run, the Bison players became more than just teammates.
Family at 3, 1, 2, 3, family!
I love those guys, and the coaches are just so nice, and they just help you, and they guided me through these past years. I'm going to miss them.
At 6'2", 255 pounds, Austin is a matchup nightmare in any sport. He's the reigning Class A Senior Athlete of the Year in football and Region 7 Player of the Year in basketball. But as his childhood friend mentions, he wasn't always the biggest in the crowd.
Nope, he wasn't. There was a couple kids that were taller than him. Not as pudgy as him, but still they were taller than him.
Well, that's certainly not the case now. But Austin knows he has to get even bigger if he wants to have a successful career at UND.
I got to start lifting like right now, and there's really nothing that can prepare you for D1 football until you actually get there, but I'm going to try.
His best years are to come. You know, he's very young for his class, and with a little more maturity and also a lot of work in the weight room, I think his opportunities are endless.
And with UND just a couple hours away, all of his Hazen family will get to see those opportunities unfold. With the spotlight on Austin Cieslak, for NBC North Dakota Sports, I'm Jason Dumas. Kaylee Keller and Jessica Gabriel have formed a close friendship while practicing on the gymnastic mat together. But once a meet begins, that friendship turns into a rivalry.
I don't think they have the bloodthirst against each other, but they are still competitive with each other too. I mean, they both want to see their teams do well.
Me and Jess have been really close ever since we started competing with each other. I mean, like, we've always been competition towards each other. Like in the gym, I see her do a skill. It's like, oh God, I gotta get that now. Now I gotta do that, and vice versa. So we've been competition towards each other. It's like a rivalry, but at the same time, I hope the very best for her.
Wanting the best for someone while also competing against them sounds kind of tough, but that is only one of the mental battles these two face.
Gymnastics is all a mental sport more than physical, so you have to be able to push yourself and get through the little aches and pains that you have every day and make yourself keep going.
Can't think, well, if I fall, I could hurt myself, or because it's gymnastics. If you're going to be scared of falling and hurting yourself, then it's not for everybody.
The physical talent is there for both Kaylee and Jessica, but how do they get that mental edge that they say you need? Well, it involves slippers and a blanket.
I have to wear my gray slippers during the meet at all times when I'm not competing. I don't like the feeling of touching like the floor with my feet when I'm not going, and I always have to have my blanket with me.
And you can't forget the music.
I have a couple songs that I listen to before I go on, and then just imagining like this weekend, my senior year, my state meet, it's it, that's it. It's like what I've been working towards. If I want to be a state champ, then I have to do what I need to do to get there.
And once she gets there, she'll see a familiar face, both a friend and a rival. With the spotlight on Kaylee Keller and Jessica Gabriel, for NBC North Dakota Sports, I'm Jason Dumas.